Hey everybody, my name is Logan Owen, and I'm going to be doing my project on 21st century technology and its impact on English grammar. Just to kind of go over what we'll be talking about in the PowerPoint, new types of technology, so different things that have been developed since the beginning of the 21st century, the creation of new words, so what new words have been created due to technology and social media usage, the neglection of proper grammar, so how it's been neglected thanks to technology, and the review of grammar concepts at the end, just an overall look at how grammar has changed and will continue to change. So starting with new types of technology, just to give you an idea of the time frame we're looking at, the 21st century began on January 1st, 2001. So the turn of the 21st century fell not long after the New Year's Eve party of the century, which actually took place on December 31st, 1999, because the next day everyone was going to wake up in the year 2000, which at the time mankind thought was the beginning of the new millennium. Virtual assistants were created, such as Siri and Alexa. Online streaming became a thing. Touchscreen glass on our phones instead of having to touch the keys. These are all really big inventions that happened within the 21st century. Just to give you an idea of different types of technology outside the realm of social media, you can think about 3D printing, so a printer that can seemingly create car parts for a less price or to even replace the organs in our bodies. And electronic cigarettes have been really big things that have happened, especially at the beginning of the 21st century. Social media, of course, is one of the biggest reasons that grammar as we know it has been impacted. It took flight at the beginning of the 21st century as well, which we'll talk about here in a second. So the social networking impact is one of the biggest reasons that grammar has been impacted. And this just kind of is a timeline that I created to give you an idea of when social media really hit the scene. So the first thing we're going to see is 2003 with MySpace. 2004 we're going to have Skype, where you can video chat with one another. In 2004, Facebook also came to be, but it's much different than the Facebook that we know now. With 2006, Twitter, 2010, Pinterest, 2010 also brought Instagram, which is one of the biggest social media networks that we have now. Followed right behind in 2011 with Snapchat. In 2012, the world's largest online dating platform, Tinder, was created, and followed by Vine in 2013, Musical.ly in 2014, and everyone's favorite app nowadays in 2017, TikTok. And this just kind of leads us into the creation of new words, so how words can be created and trending the next day. Words that didn't even exist yesterday, so we can gladly thank social media and the internet for these words here, because 10 years ago, selfie was not a word, which is a photo taken of oneself by oneself. Tweet, of course, any type of post made on Twitter. Unlike is to remove a like from a post or a photo that you liked in the past. A GIF, digital file, it moves, it kind of looks like a video with no sound. It can be shared among apps and through texting. No cap is a phrase that gets used quite often. Cap is apparently another word for lie, so no cap means you aren't lying. Photobomb, so moving into a photo as a prank or a joke. And then one of the most popular words used nowadays is yeet, a slang word that has been developed that also means to throw. And I included this picture here of a child and her uncle who are trending on TikTok. Her name on TikTok is the Yeet Baby. Her name's Marley. She's now famous on TikTok because the first word she said was yeet. So, and this also leads us into new definitions. So you can take Karen, for example. Should just be a typical English name, but social media influencers, especially on TikTok and YouTube, use the word Karen quite often when they are referring to someone who thinks highly of themselves or thinks that they're better than others. And there's one TikTok user, I included his @ and his video below. He has an entire series devoted to explaining what a Karen acts like. He actually has 9 million likes on this video, which is crazy. Another thing for new definitions is a word we simply thought had one meaning was tea. We'll hear the phrase, what's the tea, many times, and this is just simply asking if someone knows the gossip or can spread the gossip among others. It was trending with this picture of Kermit a couple years ago for a long time, and now has just seemingly been adopted into our everyday language. Which leads us into acronyms, whether they can help or hurt us. So really, what is an acronym? It serves as an abbreviation formed by the initial letters of longer words, so LOL, what are you doing, TTYL, BOGO, etc. And then do we really need them? So acronyms are used in our everyday lives and seemingly speed up our conversations or our writing by having us lessen what we're actually trying to say. So I think in the long run, acronyms may be hurting us because they're deterring us from writing out a whole message, explaining our thought process, and what we wanted to say fully. And this, of course, leads us into emojis. So what are they? Where'd they come from? And are they impacting us? And I've included a few here on this slide. They actually originated in Japan, and the first ones were invented in the 1990s. So emojis are small, digitized images that are used to express ideas or emotions. There's around 3,300 emojis as of 2021, and an entire conversation can be developed from the usage of emojis, because as you can see, everything they're categorized here below, that pretty much covers the whole 9 yards, and it would be very easy to understand how an entire conversation without words could be developed with emojis. That also brings us to talking about virtual assistants. So like Siri, Alexa, they all came to be around 2011. So we use Siri on our phones to send texts or to ask how to spell words, to tell us jokes, or how to set an alarm. And then we use Google Home or Alexa in our homes to play music, check the weather, form a grocery list, and now they can even turn on our lights for us. So they may be deterring our ability to complete tasks on our own or write and develop our ideas ourselves. Because when we don't know our words, we can simply pull our phones right out of our pockets. We can ask Siri what it means, ask her how to spell it, instead of, referring to a dictionary. We can use speak-to-text audio to write text, emails, and even essays nowadays. So I had one quote that I included from one of my sources, and it says, "Regardless of how you may feel about them, voice assistants have worked their way into most aspects of our lives. They're in mobile apps and devices and found in many industries such as retail, education, and healthcare. With a projected number of users by the end of 2021 being set to 843 million, it's time we cozy up to our electronic friends." So, then we're going to move on into a collection of proper grammar, which of course leads us into texting. So texting is definitely a communication killer because serious topics are discussed over text, and there is no longer any, face-to-face interaction among dialect anymore. And then, of course, autocorrect may seem like a great tool for when you almost know how to spell a word but can't quite get there, but autocorrect does not correct the under or over usage of commas. So those grammar rules are completely ruled out. And, nowadays, if, say you have students in school, they're given an assignment, they're asked to write an essay or a paragraph, anything, they just can copy and paste the name of the book into Google. It can write an essay for them, and I believe that is killing our ability to think critically and how to teach kids to think critically, which of course just leads into incomplete sentences. There's no subject-verb agreement. The wrong forms of words are used. There's improper punctuation, and which can overall lead to illiteracy. If you're texting with someone who is really big into grammar rules, like a professor or a doctor or anyone, and you use the wrong form of your or the wrong punctuation, they may think, they don't, really care much about what we're talking about, and they overall may be illiterate. So it's important to check for those things. And then just an overall review of concepts, again, just leading on to the impact on our language and writing. This is another quote I took from Scholastic. So some experts worry that too much texting and posting messages on social media can hurt kids' ability to read and write properly, which I 100% agree with, because a lot of kids have been just raised in this new era of technology and they don't know anything but technology and social media, and they think, well, if I can just write a text out like this and be lazy with it, I can apply that to every other aspect of my life, which is not good, which leads me into laziness. It allows you to take the easy way out when it comes to forming complete sentences, proper punctuation, things like that. Also, a point that I wanted to bring up is cursive. So out of the 5 11th graders I surveyed, only one of them knew how to write longhand cursive, which is very upsetting to me because I believe I was in 2nd or 3rd grade when I started writing cursive. And then again, just the proper rules, so grammar rules and proper punctuation are skipped over due to new slang words and abbreviations. So kids are thinking, I just learned this new word today. Those old grammar rules don't matter. I'm just going to talk the way that I want to. I added some pros and cons. So a pro of social media is that it spreads news faster than any other media form. It provides academic research to a larger audience, which I think is very important for scholarly reasons and resources. And technology can allow us to learn a new language if we need to do so. It makes it very simple to, maybe for an ELL student or anyone from another country attempting to learn a new language, technology gives you tons of resources to do so. Some cons is that the overusage of social media can lead to personality or brain disorders, which is very scary. A con is that once it's out there, it never goes away. Even if you delete it, it's still out there in the multiverse somewhere. Another con is that our knowledge of writing and grammar rules has decreased tremendously because no one wants to write at all anymore. They just want to text and play video games and be on their phones where really no rules apply. So in closing, has 21st century technology and social media impacted the way we live and communicate? Overall, yes. I included some end thoughts here. I'm not going to read them all word for word, just kind of give you a general idea. So the reappropriation of existing words and words based on brands to refer primarily to their social media context. Reappropriation is a cultural process by which a group claims words that were previously used in a certain way. They've been given new meaning. So words that we typically use for certain things like tea, like we talked about earlier, have been given new meaning. I like this one a lot. Language is an evolving thing. It's naive to think that the language of social media isn't having an effect on the way we use English in day-to-day life. A whole host of words originating from social media and the wider internet have become so commonplace, they've now slipped into popular usage and we don't even realize it. So these are my resources really quick, and this is my resource for this slide template that I used. Thank you for watching my video. If you like it, be sure to give it a like and a comment maybe. And if you have any questions about how technology and social media have impacted our language, I hope this PowerPoint answers it for you. If not, just be sure to reach out to me. Thanks.